Hi, guys. Welcome back to another CoStar FanCast. I'm your host, Patrick Green, and today we've got a very special guest. You may know him from Adventure Time or Voltron Legendary Defenders, or maybe even the band Makeout Monday. Let's give a big CoStar welcome to Jeremy Shada.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, Jeremy? How's
Actually, a lot. I will say a lot. It's really nothing much, but there's a lot.
what have you been up to? I know you just bought a new house.
Yep. We just bought a house in Florida, so I'm officially like a super duper East Coaster now, which is crazy. Which is near a lot of my wife's family, and we're actually we're not there right now. I'm actually in her parents' place because we're like ripping up the whole thing and redoing it, which is a lot of fun, but a lot of work, a lot of stress. It takes some time. It is fun knocking down walls, though. I will say it can be a it can be a blast taking a sledgehammer to a little wall that you're getting rid of and redoing things. That's pretty fun.
So you're a really creative guy. How have you managed to get your creative outlet out there, like playing guitar, watching movies? What have you been doing?
I've been learning how to play guitar. So I've always played bass since I was I think 12 years old, so over 10 years now. But I'd never learned how to play guitar. So I just during quarantine have been learning how to play guitar, which has been fun, kind of a creative outlet, and then just kind of for fun, like writing some music. And then we've actually been pretty busy with promotion and getting things ready for Julie and the Phantoms, which is about to come out on September 10th. So it's been weird kind of, I guess, promoting a show and getting stuff ready for it via like Zoom. Because usually for like show promotions, we'll get to go as a cast and we'll do like interviews and stuff. And we'll do kind of fun games and you'll even do some stuff with fans. But because of this, we're doing everything like remotely. So we have like all of us in like 5 different places across the U.S. and Canada, basically doing a high-end FaceTime while doing interviews, and it's just such a weird process. But it's been cool. It's been an adjustment, but it's been exciting nonetheless. So that's kept me pretty busy.
And the trailer dropped yesterday, right?
That is correct. The trailer came out yesterday. I don't know if anybody has seen it or not. If you have seen it, do we like what we see so far? Sweet. I'm seeing some smiling faces. You know, it's fun being a part of this type of show because that reaction usually happens when you have a show that has a lot of music, you know, and that's what's so fun about it. I love shows with music because there's just, if you have a great song, it can put a smile on everybody's face, and that's such a fun feeling. I love it.
And it's from Kenny Ortega, right? Who everyone knows from High School Musical.
Yes. So if you love the Mr. Kenny Ortega from the High School Musicals and The Descendants and a million other things, you're gonna like this a lot. He is very heavily involved. I think he directed more than half the episodes, so 5 out of 9, and he's also one of our executive producers. So he's on set every single day. Even the episodes that he didn't actively direct, he was choreographing the big pieces and was always there. This is like his baby, which is really, really cool. He's such a fun person to work with. And yeah, we're all thankful for the opportunity. It's been so much fun.
That's awesome. And so let's go to our first question. We're going to talk a little more about Julie and the Phantoms later, but let's go to our first question. We have Alyssa.
Alyssa, where we at?
Me?
Alyssa, yes. Yeah, where are you calling in from?
Morning. Good morning. Hello.
Where are you calling in from, Alyssa?
Philippines. It's
wow.
What time is it there?
4:30 a.m.
Oh my Lord! Thank you for being awake. Oh my gosh, I don't think I could do it. That takes some dedication. Well, very good morning to you, and if you can call it morning.
I'm gonna go to sleep anyway. It's okay.
Nice.
So, what was your question for Jeremy, Alyssa?
Okay. Being a homeschooler myself, I wanted to ask you. So, because I read online, I'm not sure. I wanted to confirm if it's true. If you were actually homeschooled for a period of time.
I was homeschooled.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How I just want to know, what were your homeschooling experiences, and would you recommend it to people now, especially during this time of pandemic?
Right. It is interesting. I hadn't. That's a great question. Thank you. I hadn't really thought about it in terms of that. But I guess for me, my experience probably wasn't too different from what a lot of people are doing right now. I think what made it kind of doable for me, at least, and pretty good, was that I'm not an only child. I have 2 older brothers. I have a little sister. And so I always had, at least siblings with me at home, which is kind of nice. You feel like you're learning near other people and you kind of have that interaction, which is great. And then also, for me, it was kind of nice because if you really were good about it, you would put in the work and get it done early in the day. And then you just kind of got to hang out for the afternoons, which was kind of great. You're like, all right, let's get up earlier, get the work done for the day, and then just get to relax. That was my favorite part of homeschooling. And then I feel like people usually say, you miss like the social aspect if you don't go to a normal school because you're not going to see people every day. And I think maybe that can be true, but for me at least, I had a lot of friends through either like acting or through my church or through my friends. Like I always had a lot of friends to go do stuff with. And so it never really affected that, which worked out well for me. That might not be the case for everybody, but I think it worked out pretty well for me. And I got to finish school a little bit early. I think I graduated at almost 17, but I was 16. Which, I had an incentive because I was like, I just want to focus on work. I like what I do. I want to do more of that. So I was like, I'm going to get done with school as fast as possible. But yeah, I honestly, I liked homeschooling. I don't feel like it ever affected me one way or the other. I think there's definitely always going to be pros and cons to either or. But if you can make it work and you enjoy it, it's great.
I have to agree, honestly. I went to a regular school for when I went to my first 2 years of high school, and I just came back this school year, and I really have to say I missed homeschooling, the experience of like you get to manage your own time, you make your own schedule, and right now I'm able to focus because I'm in a special strand right now. I'm able to focus on my writing, which I'm writing a book. I'm able to focus on my art, my graphic designing, and I feel like I don't usually feel drained as I used to be anymore when I was in regular school because I feel happy, lighter, and yes, of course, there's less school drama, if you know what I mean.
Less of the drama, less of that high school drama. I got you. I feel that.
And Alyssa, you had a question about Julie and the Phantoms you wanted to ask?
Well, what was your favorite memory when you were filming Julie and the Phantoms on set, and who were involved, and how would you choose that?
Ooh, great question. It was a lot. It was a fun shoot. We were there. I mean, it was a long process. We were working on the first season for over 6 months. And I think one of my favorite memories was probably the first time that we were told that we got the show. Honestly, we had this very long process where we all had to audition and sing the song together as a band with like 15 different other people there, like different versions of the bands. We had this long mix and match test process. And so you're doing it with like different guitar player characters, different singers, and everybody can play their instruments. So it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of crazy. And then at the end of it, we came out one last time, which was me, Charlie, Madison, and Owen, who ended up being the group. And at the very end of it, we performed one time, and we all came down to the front of the stage. This is just an audition too, so I don't even as if we were the band, and then like we did like a bow and everything, and the executives had like their phones up, kind of like okay. And then usually when you're auditioning for something, you don't know that you're going to be on the project or not be on the project for like at least 10 days, sometimes like 2 weeks after the fact. So you kind of go home and sit and go, did I do good? Did I suck? I don't know. But they told us literally right then and there. We finished the performance. We had like 20 seconds.
Hello, Trinity. Hello, Trinity. How are you?
Uh-oh. Whoa, what happened? Heard a voice of God coming for a second.
Sorry about that, Jeremy.
Oh, you're good.
Keep going.
Yeah, and so We had like 20 seconds. We're just kind of standing on stage, like, what's happening? And then Kenny Ortega goes, I can tell them, really? And we just see people kind of nod, like, mm-hmm. And he goes, okay, you guys are the band. You guys are our band. And we're like, what the heck? Like, okay, cool. And they were filming the whole process. So I think there's a promo vid of that moment where they like told us that, and it was like the most weird, surreal thing. And then you're also thinking like, okay, well, I better get to know these other three kids because we're gonna be spending a lot of time together for the next maybe few years. So that was a cool memory.
Great questions, Alyssa, and great insight, Jeremy. Next up, we got Chrissy. Chrissy, you're talking to Jeremy. What's going on? Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Germany.
Germany. You're international, Jeremy.
Very international. All the way from Germany. How you doing, Chrissy?
Hi. Well, it's late here, but I don't care.
What's your question, Chrissy? What's going on?
My question is it strange for you hearing your own voice when watching a show you voiced a character in?
That's a great question. It can be strange. I think when I first watched back something that I had worked on, and I heard my voice come through it, I was kind of like, is that what I sound like? Like, I don't sound like that. And I realized this is a common thing with a lot of people. It wasn't at first. I was like, is it just me? But I guess when you're younger, like the voice what you think you sound like is different than like if you record something and you actually hear what your voice sounds like. It's just different. And so I remember having that process. Now I've heard it so much that I'm used to it. But yeah, the first time I heard it, I was like, I don't even know, like, did they replace my voice? Is that even me? But I was like, no, that is me. And it's a weird thing. It's also weird because it's like you're hearing that voice come through this other character that has this different expressions and stuff. But it's just surreal. It's kind of cool though. I think getting to be a voice of any type of cartoon is such a dream come true and is so fun. And as a character, you have a lot more things you can do sometimes in animation than live action, which just with like even the fact that your body doesn't move in real life, like noodle arms, like Finn could do. Obviously I can't physically do like noodle arms, but Finn can do that. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I think it's very surreal at first. And I had a harder time watching myself in animation or live action when I first started acting, because I think you get really self-conscious. But I think over time now I generally watch stuff back just to see how it comes together, because when you're in a booth recording or even on set shooting, there's a huge difference between what that looks like and sounds like, and when everything is together, the colors are added in, everything's in motion, how it's supposed to be. It's on a whole nother level. And I think you love getting to see that process of it come together. And there's so much work that so many in that process that makes it fun.
Okay, thank you. Because every time I hear my own voice messages, I think, what? That's not me.
I think we all have that. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's a common thing for sure.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Of course.
Thanks, Chrissy. Next up, we got Alexander. Where are you calling in from, Alexander?
I'm calling in from Muskin, Ireland.
Wow.
Very nice.
We are all over the place today. This is crazy. This is cool. How you doing, Alexander from Ireland?
I am doing good. What about yourself?
Fantastic. Just hanging out with cool people. What can you say?
So my question to you was, what do you love so much about acting, and who or what inspired you to be an actor?
Great question. I think my favorite part about acting is just getting to be different people at times. It's kind of fun. It's like when you're a little kid and you're doing make believe. Like when you're a little kid, you're like, I'm an astronaut today, or I'm a superhero, I'm this or that, and you kind of make believe little stories in your head. And it's kind of like doing that as a career in a weird way. I think that's the fun part of it. I get to be some kid who lives in a magical world, slaying monsters and such, and then I get to be like a defender of the universe who flies around in a robot spaceship that looks like, there's a it's like playing make believe when you're trying to envision yourself in it and just kind of enjoy it. In the new show, I get to be kind of like a little bit of a rock star a little bit, but I'm also a ghost, so these all have some magical crazy element to them. I'm realizing this now, that most of the things I work on are like not very normal, but that lends itself to it. I enjoy it because it is so out of this world, and you're doing things that you would never do in real life, and you're portraying that, and you're getting to be people that are different than yourself, which is really fun. I think it's like tapping into that inner 12-year-old and playing make believe for a little bit, which is kind of great. And
right.
as far as what inspired me to be an actor, I guess that's probably also kind of the same answer. But I just remember as a kid, I loved movies and TV shows growing up, watching like Star Wars and Jurassic Park, or like a lot of animated shows like Teen Titans or Kim Possible. The list goes probably on and on. Last Airbender, and so it's kind of like those are my favorite shows when I was growing up, and so I just wanted to be able to eventually maybe do stuff like that, and that was kind of, I guess, that's what inspired me more or less.
Do you have a favorite?
Say what?
Great.
Do you have a favorite actor?
Do I have a favorite actor? That's hard. There's a lot of actors I think are phenomenal, so it's really hard to.
You can have multiple if you want.
That's fair. That's fair. I really like Will Smith a lot. I like Tom Hiddleston a lot. I like Robert Downey Jr. is really, really awesome. There's a lot. I'll say those three, I guess, for right now. That's a solid trifecta of actors. But yeah, there's a lot more than that.
Great questions, Alexander. Thank you for calling in from Ireland. We got more acting questions. Good stuff today. Jeanne is an actress herself. She's got a question.
Ooh.
Hi, my name's Jean. I'm from Maryland.
Awesome.
Yeah, so actually my question. Oh yeah,
I'm the acoustic.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to learn. I'm not very good right now, but I am learning.
Me neither. I'm right there with you. I know like 7 chords maybe, and I'm trying to learn more. But I can't I can't do one chord yet. Those are very, very hard.
Yeah, the struggle's real, but I mean we're in quarantine, so we got time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so mine was actually on like how is your audition process, but you kind of already talked about that. But like, how was that like for you, like mentally? Like, how did you like prepare for it, and how did you keep yourself like calm throughout that process?
That is a great question. I think it's always different for everyone. Some people I always feel like are really weirdly confident in auditions. Oh, there we go. Are weirdly confident in auditions, and other people aren't. I think I land generally on the less confident side of auditions, and I've just had to learn to, I guess, mask it a little bit. I think for me, I'm always the most nervous right before I walk in the room. I feel like I get like this like anxiety, and I have like butterflies in my stomach, and it's like, oh God, It's just the worst feeling. So the longer I have to wait in an audition room, the worse it is. I just want to get there and go right in. That's usually best, because I find that I'm always nervous right until like the first line starts, or if we're doing it in music, even right until like you first play the first chord or sing the first line. Usually once it actually starts, then I feel like I'm pretty okay, because you're like, you know what, I prepared it. I'm just doing what I kind of came here to do. I'm just always very nervous right before. You know, I've never found a really good fix for that, if I'm being completely honest. It still happens. Even if it's something that I feel like I'm going to do well on, it's always there. So I think in the back of my mind, I just kind of know that and kind of accept it. It's like, you know what, I'll accept the butterflies, I'll accept the anxiety. But once that first line kicks in, then you just lose yourself in it, you know, and you just go for it and just hope that whatever you kind of thought was cool to do as that character, that hopefully those people see it too. And I think as I've gotten older, the one thing that has gotten easier is honestly not caring as much about what people think. And I think that's a good place to be, because I found that I go out on probably hundreds of auditions and get like one. And there's a lot of factors you're not right for. There's just things that maybe they changed it last minute or whatever else. There's so many things outside of your control. And so you kind of go, all right, I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm going to do it. And if I don't get it, honestly, doesn't really matter because I probably wasn't supposed to get it anyway. And then eventually when you do get one, you're like, okay, this is the one. Like, I'm supposed to get this. And I think having that mindset of kind of, everything happens for a reason, and you're going to get the ones you're going to get, and you're not going to get the ones you're not going to get, usually soothes that. At least for me, if that all makes sense.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. Great question. You seem like you're very hardworking at it. So I wish you all the best. I think you're gonna do well.
Thank you.
Jeremy, what's one piece of advice you would give aspiring actresses and actors out there? Just kind of one tidbit.
More or less what I just said, but to add on to that, I would say, there's a lot. Let me condense it, I guess. I think ultimately at the end of the day, just have fun with it. You know what? If you make a weird choice in an audition, the worst they can say is that you owned that weird choice. I think that's the best place to be. You know, if you're gonna do something that might seem a little bit kind of out of the norm, out of left field, that they weren't expecting, at least they'll remember you for it. And I think that's a good place to be. You know, sometimes you'll want to play it safe with the performance, but if you do that, there's probably a lot of other people that are playing it safe. So why not just do something that kind of at least gets their attention for a second? They're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I think that's a fun place to be, and I enjoy doing that. So just have fun with it. If you're doing something that you think is cool, makes you laugh, go with that.
It's a great piece of advice. Thank you. All right, next up we got Anaya. Anaya, where are you calling in from?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
From Pennsylvania. How are you doing, Anaya, from Pennsylvania?
Anaya, actually. Sorry. Yeah.
Anaya.
Yeah, everyone gets it wrong. I'm doing good. How are you, Jeremy?
Fantastic. Just chilling.
That's good. So I was wondering, what made you want to audition for Julie and the Phantoms? Like, what kind of motivated you to do that?
Great question. Well, I think that the biggest thing is probably Kenny Ortega. It's kind of like I was like, okay, Julie and the Phantoms, and I was like, that sounds familiar. And I was like, oh, it's because it probably sounds like Gem and the Holograms or Josie and the Pussycats. It has that same like person with bandmates that are called something after it. But it was like Kenny Ortega, and I was like, all right, done, sold. I'm gonna audition for this. I didn't even read anything else, and I already knew that I wanted to do it. And then I read more specifically the breakdown of the character that I ended up getting, and it was like Reggie, bass player, is in like kind of a punk rock band from the 90s, also can sing, is kind of goofy, loves music, is funny. Basically, it was very very basic. Like that was pretty much it. And I was like, I can play bass in real life, great. I can sing, great. Love comedy, perfect. Kenny Ortega, and then I was like, oh, and it's a Netflix show, sold. I was like, that's all I need to know. We're good.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's not hard to want to audition for things, because I think most breakdowns that I'll generally audition for. I mean, it's pretty seldom that I won't audition for something, just because you never know. You know, you kind of want to go through the process and see where you land with it. So that was just like I would have done it either way, but that was like a really like, okay, cool, this is going to be fun to audition for. The hard part, I would say, actually, this is another good tip. When there's a project that's really cool and you put a lot into it and you're preparing for it, you get very invested in things at times. And so it can be hard if I didn't get it, because you're like, oh, man, that was so cool. I wanted it so badly. And I've been on the other end of that so many times, where you get like, it's like down to like you and one other person, you don't get it. And you're like, crap. And you know what? Sometimes you see the project afterwards and you're kind of like, honestly, that wasn't that good. So I'm kind of glad I didn't get it. And sometimes that can be kind of nice. But there's other times you see it and you're like, yeah, that would have been cool. That's kind of a bummer, but it all works out. There was one thing that I was like bummed that I didn't get. And I was like, crap. All right, it'll be fine. And then if I had gotten that, I actually wouldn't have been able to do this because they were both shooting at the same time. And looking back now, like I would have a million times rather done this over that. And the cast that I'm working with, I'm so close with now, Maddie, Charlie, and Owen. Those guys are like my brothers. She's like my little sister. And they're so great. I'm so glad I've had that opportunity to have that personal relationship too. That makes it all the better. And Kemi Ortega, who I get to call I get to say as a friend now, which is really cool. So yeah, I guess that's, long story short, that's what made me want to audition. And then the test process was very, very hard. So I'm glad it worked out.
All right. I just want to say I'm like a huge fan of Adventure Time. I've been watching it since I was little. My brother's like 20 now. He got me into it. And this is like a dream come true to talk to you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. Thanks to your brother for getting you into Adventure Time.
Yeah.
You got a favorite episode of Adventure Time?
I mean, I love when I don't know, there's so many to choose from.
There's literally over 285 to choose from. So
yeah,
that makes
like, I have no idea. Like maybe when Finn loses his arm, that's a pretty cool episode. I like that one.
That's an epic episode.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Very cool. Thanks for calling in. All right, next up we got Trinity. Where are you calling in from, Trinity? Oh. Hi, Trinity.
Is she there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yay, okay. Hi, I'm calling in from Reno, Nevada. How you doing?
I'm great. Well, you got a cool wall back there. You just put the whole thing. That's so cool. We got some Voltron.
My entire wall dedicated to Voltron.
Yeah. See, that's. Is this all work that you've made, or is it curated from other artists?
I'm such an art collector. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so you got this whole wall up here.
Whoa, that's so sick. That's so cool. I love it. Very nice.
Thanks. Yeah, pretty much. So my question for you, I mean, you kind of talked a little bit about Julie and the Phantoms already, but I was wondering, I mean, like, what can you share about your experience on the show, and what are some of your favorites? Can you tell us a little bit more about the show?
100%. I would say one thing that's really cool about the show is there's a lot of projects where they'll cast people and you want to get the best actor as much as possible that fits the role. But sometimes you'll have like music projects where the person's a great actor, but they might not necessarily be able to play the instrument that well or sing or whatever, and so they make it work. But on this project especially, they wanted anyone who was performing in it to be able to actually sing, be able to actually play their instrument, whether that be, for me, it's bass. Owen plays drums, Charlie plays guitar, Madison plays piano. Actually, I had to, after the fact, I didn't think I'd be doing anything other than bass. But there's a sequence in one of the songs where I have to play like a piano part just on a bridge. So I was like sweating bullets. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how to play piano. This is going to look so bad. And the coolest thing about the show is before we shot anything, before we had a single frame, we had it was like a month and a half, almost 2 months of what they called our band boot camp, which was literally just 5 days a week, like 12 hours a day. We were all there, and we already could sing and play our instruments, but we had like master classes basically from amazing vocal coaches and bass teachers and guitar teachers, all this stuff. We had like group sessions, we had like solo sessions. We were basically getting paid to like become way better at our instruments, which was just, the coolest thing. And on top of that, Kenny's so smart that he was like, this is a band. I want them to feel like they're actually a band, like they know each other, like they can do all this. And so throughout that 2 months, we also just all got to know each other and became great friends. And we were just playing music and just having fun with it. And so because of that, I even got little piano lessons from an amazing instructor. And so I play a little piano in it too. But that's the coolest part is all the music in the show. Everyone can play everything. Everybody can sing. We didn't we didn't get to record the instruments ourselves because of our rehearsal schedule and everything else. We obviously all sang all of our vocal parts, whether they be leads or harmonies. We sang everything, which is so cool. And then on stage, like you have so many different shots that you're doing that you can't you can't technically shoot it like live. It's just very, very hard because of matching up angles. And so, but we have playback the whole time, and we are like sticklers for making sure that we are playing and singing the right thing. Like Kenny always comes up and he's like, it might be playback, but he's like, you need to make sure you're actually singing, because there is a huge difference. Like if someone's just not really paying attention, or if they're just kind of lip syncing, you can tell it doesn't look real. It's not real. And so our whole thing was like, we even at times had our stuff plugged in when you could hear us playing on set. We weren't capturing that audio, but like we're actually like playing it. And it looks so much better when you do it that way, because you know you're actually playing the right part. You're actually singing it. It's all you. And yeah, it was just cool. It's also just like getting to watch a huge like choreography set piece of like 40, 50 dancers doing all this stuff is just the coolest thing to see in person happen. So yeah, that's a little nuggets of the show, but it's cool.
Trinity, have you got to check out the trailer yet?
I did, and the soundtrack, and I'm so hyped for it. I'm waiting for it.
Our first single is on all the music platforms, which is pretty cool. And then I think the rest of the soundtrack will drop the same day as the show. So yeah, I'm glad people can finally like see a little bit of it in the trailer, which is cool.
So
right on, for sure.
Jeremy,
thank you.
Jeremy, would you be down to give us a little taste of some music, maybe, from the show?
Snap. I mean, I don't even... Yeah, you can't probably hear this because it's an electric. I don't have my amp with me. I'm in the
here we go.
process of going home and moving, but let's see what
Yay!
That's where it is. Okay, cool. Remember this part. So actually, we did a little acoustic version of one of the songs recently, is like a promo thing. And I'm glad that I started learning a little bit of guitar, because they ended up having me play guitar in the promo thing. They're like, can you do this acoustic part? And I was like, I could sure try. So I spent a lot of days learning it. What is it? It's, yeah. That's what it is. Dun, 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 dun. So it's like, I don't even sing this part in the show. This is Julie's part, but it's like, running from the past, dripping on the now. What was lost can be found. It's obvious, like a rubber ball. We come bouncing back. We all got a second act inside of us. So there's a little bit of the intro of that song, which is kind of fun. I don't even sing that on the actual track at all. That's Julie's part, but yeah, it's fun. There's a little tease.
You do so well. We love your voice, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So speaking of music,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of music, any new music about Make Out Monday coming out, or any updates?
Good question. As you can tell, I've been busy with this project, and so I think we have one song that was recorded right at the outset of all this that we haven't released yet. So I don't know when exactly we're planning on releasing that. We had just released Paper Houses. What? Maybe it's longer ago than I even realized. Was it before quarantine or was it during quarantine? Honestly, I don't even know. The past like 5 months has all ran together. But hopefully we'll have some Make Out Monday stuff coming down the pipe soon. I'm also just kind of for kicks and giggles, I've been learning like music recording software to maybe do some stuff for myself. I don't know. We'll see. Just been kind of screwing around with it and then writing some stuff. Wants me to write a song and make a song for her. So I've been kind of working on trying to do that. So maybe that'll come out sooner than anything else, but we shall see. I'll leave it on that as a little tease.
And Trinity, you had a follow-up question.
Oh, not really a follow-up question. I just want to let you know, Jeremy, like I know you guys just moved to Florida and everything. You have your new home. So, I mean, I'll be praying for you guys. You know, pray for you guys to be blessed in your new home, to be safe, healthy, of course. You, Carolyn, the pups. Yeah, absolutely. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much. God bless you too. My actually poops are right over here. Let me go. See if I can pull one up and see what.
Yeah.
Finn, you want to say hello? You want to say hi? Oh, you both want to say hi? Oh, I think we both say hello. Oh, you've been such good boys. You've been very good. They've been very quiet. Just taking a nap. Hello. Say hi.
Oh my goodness. Look at these good boys. So I can't tell which one's Finn, which one's Jake.
No, little guy on this side with the little kind of the white with the tan patches. This is Finn, and then the pretty much tan the whole way through is Jake over here, which kind of works with the color scheme of Jake in the show too. So and their personalities fit their get that yawn, buddy. Their namesakes extremely well. So Finn is the much more he's busy, moving around, adventuring 24/7. You're a little stinker. And Jake is the lazy, I want to sleep all day and snuggle. So, yeah. I put it back. Say bye, boys.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Special guest appearance.
Yeah. Here you go, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. All right. We're back.
All right. Thank you, Trinity. Thank you for all your questions. They were great. So next up, we got Paige. I'm going to ask the question for Paige. Do you like reading books? And if so, what types of books, genres, so forth?
Great question. You know, if I'm being completely honest, I should read more books than I do. I wish I read more. When I was younger, though, I think my favorite book series that I ever read was the Chronicles of Narnia. Specifically, my favorite book was The Magician's Nephew, which is, I think it's the 6th book, although it takes place before the rest of it, like the prequel to all of it. So yeah, I always like reading kind of fantasy novels like that, or Lord of the Rings, which is an undertaking as far as the book goes. It's amazing, but it's a lot. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I tend towards as far as reading goes. But yeah, I need to read more. If you have a good book, anybody suggest one, I'll gladly add it to the list of books that I probably won't read for 5 years, but I have a list that I just never get to. So,
what's the last thing you watched on Netflix?
The last thing I watched on Netflix was probably New Girl. Yeah, it'd probably be New Girl. Me and my wife are currently binging New Girl right now, so we're on season 5, I think. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Thomas. We got Thomas next. You're on with Jeremy. Where are you calling in from, Thomas?
Thomas from Pennsylvania. How you doing, Thomas from Pennsylvania? What's your question, my dude?
With Finn, like when someone appeared and then he would scream, was that did you have to do that every time, or was that a sort of a sound effect?
That's a great question. By the way, very nice shirt. I did record that. There is no effect onto it at all. That is a real scream. I don't even know if I could recreate it, to be completely honest. It was on the page, whenever you have something like that, there's no description for what we have. So many screams in Adventure Time, there's no specific description for changing the screams. I think if I remember, the direction was just it was high pitched. It was either said high pitched noise or just high pitched scream. And for whatever reason, I did that on the first take, and everybody just started laughing, and they're like, "Perfect, that's it, we're good." And yeah, sometimes you'll go for something and you're not even intending it to sound like that, and it's almost unintentional, but it just works out. I think after that, they just kept they kept reusing the same one in multiple different episodes. But yeah, the first time I did it was completely real, so that was not a sound effect at all.
Can you give us a little of it? A taste?
Oh, let me try. I always say it sounds like either a pterodactyl or a fire alarm going off. It's yeah, there it is. It's up there. Or it's like that, but it's more short than that, but it's up there. It's very high.
What do you think, Thomas? What did you think of that? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Very nice.
He's satisfied with the fin scrape.
Great question, Thomas. All right. Next up, we got Ellie.
Ellie. That's me.
Ellie.
How you doing, Ellie?
Yeah, hi. I hope my connection's okay.
Where are you calling from, Ellie?
Oh, I'm up in Montana. Yep.
Montana. Very nice.
Oh yeah, lots of cowboys.
Lots of cowboys.
Well, first off, oh yeah, cowboys. First off, I want to say thanks for talking with us today. And my question for you was, when you're looking for projects, I know you talked a little bit about Julie and the Phantoms, but when you're looking for a new project, like what personally catches your eye? I mean, like paranorman, like unique stuff.
Great question. What does catch my eye? I think it changes from project to project, and also depending on what the genre is, because there's a huge difference, obviously, between like a comedy project or like a drama or something that's kind of a little bit of both, or like music driven, and even in those, there's different types of comedies. You have like very broad sitcom comedy. You have single cam. You have kind of like awkward cringe comedy, like an Office or something like that. There's so many different ones, and so I feel like because I watch so many different things as a fan and as a viewer, as a fellow Netflix binger myself, it's kind of like sometimes it might just be chalked up to what I'm currently watching at the time. Like whatever I'm currently really invested in. You're like, if you see a project that's kind of like that, you're like, oh, that'd be fun to do because it's kind of like this. Which is a pretty simple way to look at it, I guess. But that's kind of what it is. If it seems like something I would want to personally watch, then 100% I would want to try and go for it and do it and be in it. And I think that's always a good rule of thumb. I think there's some people that are very kind of heady with what projects they do and don't want to do and don't want to take. I think that's too much for me. I just think it's like, if that seems like it'd be fun and something I would watch, then great. I'm very down for it. I think there's a nice mixture too. Sometimes you want to do something that's more kind of serious tonally, and is more dramatic. And then usually whenever you're done doing a project like that, you're kind of like, I want to do the complete opposite of that because it's rewarding, but you want to put it up. It's like after doing something very deep, dark, and serious, you're like, okay, where's a comedy? Where's something, where's something a little bit more lighter tone? So yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. I don't have a specific rhyme or reason for the projects I like. I guess some projects, for whatever reason, just as a fan and you're watching a show, for whatever reason, some things you're a fan of and some things you're not. And it's also funny because even as viewers, I'm sure you and everyone on here is the same way. Sometimes you watch something that you would expect to be your type of show, but you watch it and you're like, wow, I really love this show. This is so cool. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Ellie, have you seen the trailer?
Awesome. I have seen the trailer. Yeah, I watched it the other day. I've got a little sister, and so I'm going to show that to her too. So really fun. Definitely looking forward to it. Yeah. I have to ask real quick, what is your favorite New Girl episode so far? I love New Girl. So.
That's so good.
Cece's wedding is my favorite.
Which one?
The earlier one, Cece's wedding. I hope I'm not spoiling anything.
No, I'm on season 5. You mean the one where she that they break it off? Obviously, it doesn't happen. Yeah, where Winston throws like the record.
Yeah,
that's so good. I think that was the favorite. I just watched one recently, which was one of the most cringy ones I've seen in a while. But it was the one where Jess is like I forget what his name is. The doctor guy kind of comes back, and he has like the beard, and Jess is like, trying to not stalk him, but kind of is stalking him, and she gets like trapped in the back of his truck. It's so good. There's so many levels of cringe. That's a great episode.
Watch the episode with your shoulders up to your ears, like
exactly. You're like, oh no, why are we doing this? Yeah,
Totally.
probably those two off the top of my head are some pretty funny ones.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, wonderful. Well,
Thanks for
thank you
calling in,
so much.
Ellie.
You're welcome, of course.
Thank you. All right, next up we got Grace. Grace, where are you calling in from?
I'm actually from South Florida. You live.
Oh,
Yeah.
Neighbor.
So my question is pretty mundane, but like, what was it like moving down here, and like, why did you move? Because I don't see the appeal of moving here.
That's a great question. I've spent a good amount of time here, at least before, just because Carolyn's whole family, like pretty much, not all of them, but most of them live here. And so whenever I would come out to visit them and see them, we'd spend quite a bit of time here. I think that's a big part of the appeal is we really, it's hard because we really love Atlanta and we love LA and Carolyn spent a lot of time in New York, which is also so much fun. So we like having a city to go, have things to go do. But at the end of the day, especially during like quarantine, you kind of want to at least be able to see family since there's like no one else that we even know we know where we moved in Atlanta. And so that kind of makes it hard. You're like, oh man, like, I don't know how long this is going to go on. Like, I'd rather be at least close to some family. It was also, they were here. It's not a hard drive from Atlanta down to here. It's like 9 hours maybe, so that was pretty easy. That made it easy to do. And on top of that, I'm not a big beach person, and ironically, neither is Carolyn. But you think you would want to be if you're moving here. But I do like boats. Boats are fun. So to go out like on the water is fun. I just don't really like going to the beach. So pros and cons. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was probably the beach. You hate the beach?
Yeah, I've lived here for like 17 years and I hate the beach.
I hear that's what a lot of people say. I feel like it's always that grass is greener on the other side. Although genuinely, I mean, that's the same. I grew up in California and I never liked the beach. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's when you live near something, you kind of go, meh, not a fan of it.
Grace, do you have one spot that Jeremy needs to eat at in South Florida?
Ooh, good question.
You're in like Boca area, right? Yeah. Because that's yeah. I don't really know. I don't live close. Like, it's about an hour away from me, so I don't really live down there. But like, I know some of the malls are pretty like good. Like, Town Center. That's the fancy mall with all like the expensive stores. So that's like the one place that people. It's got like a Gucci store and like a Louis Vuitton store. So like.
That's so funny. I don't think I would ever shop there at those stores, but it's probably pretty funny to walk through, I would say.
Oh yeah, there's so many old people with dogs. That's like the one thing you see.
Mocha pups. I got two, and they look a lot like a lot of the dogs here, as I'm noticing. That's funny. That's pretty funny.
Thanks, Grace. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Grace.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course.
Our last question is from Trish from Australia. She couldn't be here, so I'm going to ask her the question for you. Jeremy, you've moved around a lot. Any countries you would live in or would want to go to or visit that you haven't been to yet?
Great question. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if there's anywhere. I mean, mainly because you don't really know until you've been somewhere. I really love living here. I mean, it's just because I have family. I think that's where it all comes back to. You want to be. It's the people that you want to spend time with. But I would genuinely love to like not permanently relocate, but like go spend X amount of like a few months somewhere. I will say. I spent almost 6 months in Vancouver when we were shooting Julie and the Phantoms. That's where we shot, and that was such a blast. I love Vancouver. One of my favorite cities in the world. It's just a really gorgeous place. You have like mountains and really pretty trees. There's a city and the ocean, all like from the view of your apartment, basically, which is just such a cool place to live. And the people there are super nice. So I get the best of both worlds a little bit. When you're working on a project, sometimes you get to spend an extended period somewhere, but you're not like fully relocating. And so I think that's kind of fun, like getting to go someplace for a few months and shoot something and then come back home is nice because you get to try something new and you get to see some other culture and some other foods, some just different terrain and switch it up. But then you get to come back, and I think, it makes you appreciate home that much more probably as well. So that's kind of fun. I would say I would love to spend more time in Australia. I've been there before. A lot of places in Europe. I've never gotten to go to anywhere really other than the Philippines. I haven't gotten to see a lot of Asia, so I'd love to see more of Asia. I hear South Africa is awesome. I would love to go spend some time there as well. So really, I just want to travel. I want to go see all the places, and then at the end of cool travels, come back home and fall asleep in my bed at home
with the pups.
With the pups, exactly. With the little pups.
All right, guys, that's a wrap for today's CoStar FanCast. Thank you to all the fans who tuned in, and especially the ones who asked the question. Shout out to Jeremy for being so gracious with his time. Don't forget to watch Julie and the Phantoms on Netflix on September 10th. I'm your host, Patrick Green. Follow CoStar for the latest updates on your favorite stars. Until next time.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.